You are about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So the Trump administration had accepted the resignations of Tulsi Gabbard and Pam Bondi. I know people, our liberal media was saying they were fired, but when you start to find out that they are dealing with either family health issues or health issues of their own, it makes sense why they would choose to step away. So I believe about 4 or 5 days ago, we learned that Tulsi Gabbard's husband, Abraham Williams, had an extremely rare bone cancer, and she had announced her resignation on Friday. Abraham Williams, I believe, is 40. I don't know if I have his age yet. I'm sorry about that. And he's young. And this bone cancer, we're not really getting, let me get his age for you real quickly here. We're not really getting the name of the type of bone cancer. If it's a primary bone cancer, that's one sort of cancer. If it's a metastatic cancer to the bone, that's different. The fact that they're calling it bone cancer is suggesting a primary. He is a cinematographer and he's 37 years old. And so when we found out that he had this extremely rare cancer, it obviously was very, very concerning. We haven't really seen her husband much. We've seen Tulsi Gabbard a lot, and then, she was taken on by the Trump administration. But unfortunately, bone cancer can be very, very serious. Tulsi Gabbard is 45 years old. I apologize. And so her husband, Abraham Williams, is 37. So, she had posted, "I got you," over and over again. I do. And so we're not sure when he was diagnosed. We're not sure the exact type of bone cancer. Is it multiple myeloma? Is it a sarcoma, an osteosarcoma? What exactly is the official diagnosis? But unfortunately, bone cancer could be very, very difficult to treat. It has access to the blood. It has an ability to metastasize just like any other place. We've heard of patients where they would be diagnosed with a bone cancer and then they find the metastatic. And people always ask, well, how do they know? You know what? And so we can subtype it. We can identify the type of cancer by the biopsy. And so we can tell if it's a primary or not based on the cell type. Something metastasized may have the characteristics of, where it came from, such as pancreatic cancer can go to the bone, thyroid cancer can go to the bone, liver, breast, kidney cancer can go to the bone. So we could see under a primary, in one essence, could be easier to treat than metastatics. And metastatics suggests a stage 4 where it's already spread to other parts of the body. If it's primary and if it's caught early, then hopefully it can be more localized. With these osteosarcomas or other sort of bone cancers, sometimes the only symptom is pain. Sometimes we diagnose it through fractures, pathological fractures. A cancer of a bone may not allow that bone to be strong. In fact, I had a patient when I was an ER doc who had fallen, and he came to us in C-spine precautions by the ambulance. And so I did a X-ray and then I did a CAT scan. And not only did he have a fracture of his cervical spine, he had multiple holes in his cervical spine. And apparently we figured out that he had prostate cancer that had metastasized to the bone. And so prostate is another cancer that can go to the bone. And so with that, it was a lot more difficult to, for him to treat. And unfortunately, he died by not wanting to stay in C-spine precautions. He was very upset that he fell, very upset. And it could also be because the cancer had spread to the brain. But he wanted to rip off his cervical collar. And the other ER doc told him not to. And he's like, well, I need to pee. So the ER doc gave him, a urinal, a little portable urinal for him to pee in bed. and he was, pretty grumpy about being in a cervical spine. And we had transferred him up to Vegas to get neurosurgery and to try to stabilize the cervical spine. And apparently when he was up in Vegas in the hospital, he decided to get out of bed and just pull the collar off. And when he did, he severed his cervical spine and he died. And so we, when it comes to things like this, I can't overemphasize, how serious these could be. So any bone pain that just doesn't seem to go away, got to get it imaged and looked at. Pam Bondi has apparently been treated successfully for thyroid cancer, or is undergoing treatment for thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer was diagnosed, they say, shortly after her departure from the administration. Remember, I've talked to you about how any mass on the thyroid or any thyroid disorder should be managed additionally with an ultrasound, so we could see why the gland is struggling. And unfortunately, if there's a mass on the thyroid, that needs to be biopsied, and we need to ensure that that's not cancer. Thyroid nodules are common. Not all thyroid nodules are cancer, but unfortunately, thyroid cancer could start off as a nodule, so we need to address that. Thyroid cancer is, if we catch it early, fairly easily treated. Unfortunately, we've had some cases, and I lost a friend of mine to thyroid cancer that metastasized. And so your thyroid is the organ that helps create hormones that affect your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your menstrual cycle, your libido, your weight, your temperature tolerances. And Pam Bondi is 60 years old. And so she will still have a role, we're being told, with the Trump administration after her treatment. But she was not to continue her role as Attorney General, and as Trump has focuses that he probably feels she's not focusing on. And if she is, dealing with thyroid cancer, that's difficult. I know I've called myself the thyroid stalker. I have not actively stalked her neck and thyroid. But from what I'm seeing, she doesn't have obvious masses that we could see from the outside. We wish her well. And, hopefully she has a good prognosis. Thyroid cancer affects there's 45,000 new cases each year, 2% of all cancer cases globally. Don't go away. We'll be right back. 1-877-Doc-Dolly.
Hi, everyone. Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis here from Legal Help Center. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up, because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. You can find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. The call is free, the consultation is free, and you can speak with a live agent right now. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident of any kind, call now to find out if you have a case and how much you could potentially get.
Thanks, Vernon. You heard it, folks. If you've been injured, call and find out how much you qualify for. Call 800-679-0800. That's 800-679-0800. 800-679-0800. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states. Not available in California.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
right. We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. All right, so we got some good news here. As you know, I have been sick of spring forward and finished with fall back. Why? Because these biannual daylight savings time changes are ridiculous. I'm sick of it, sick of spring forward, and I'm finished with fall back. We've talked about daylight saving time and how it's not very practical. Nobody likes it. The majority of Americans don't like it. The majority of states have, over the last few decades, passed legislation to stop it. And it just doesn't move forward. Trump has shown that he is a supporter of ending or locking the clock. And so people keep asking, well, where are we with this? Well, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, kept introducing the Sunshine Protection Act, and it would pass unanimously in the Senate. And then it stalled under Pelosi the last time this happened. And then the last time it was unanimously passed in the Senate. Not sure why. We are presuming the reason why is maybe some, shall we say, legislators want to get the credit. And so they're waiting for the right administration to make this happen. The other thing that I think is more of the issue is you have a disconnect and kind of an incongruity of, well, we want standard time versus saving time. Now, I, as a doctor, I'm a fan of standard time. I think there has been multiple evidence and support from the American Sleep Association and other sort of sleep experts and primary care physicians as it pertains to it's better for you and I feel better. I love standard time, and standard time is what we get from November to March. However, I'll take what we could get because the spring forward has been linked to medical issues, linked to heart attacks, linked to workplace accidents, car accidents, fertility issues, depression, and it's stupid. We don't need to do it anymore. You know, and Arizona and Hawaii don't change their clocks. And so half of us don't know what the hell the time is in Hawaii or Arizona. And we always have to ask and look it up because these two states are like, we're not doing it. So where are we now with this? Well, I've discussed back in March and I discussed in October how the majority of states have been passing legislation and it's sitting and waiting for Congress to move. So we need Congress to move. So what has happened is we have had an introduction of the Daylight Act of 2026. Now, what makes this different? Okay, because remember, I told you a big issue that everybody has been having is some states are passing, we want permanent standard time, which I like, but I'll take what I could get. The majority of states want permanent daylight saving time. So one thing that has, I think, held things up in Congress is which one do they choose? Because now you have everybody fighting over, I want standard, I want saving time. You're like, come on, man, just pick one. That's all I care about. Just pick one. In fact, I had introduced a petition. Like within days, 200,000 people signed up to say, come on, Congress, do something. Just pick one. So what this Daylight Act of 2026 does is to bridge the two, is the clock would shift 30 minutes. Now, it's a compromise, not my favorite. But look, if you're going to stop the clock, I'll take it. So from what we're being told, U.S. Representative Greg Steube, Republican from Florida, introduced the proposal. It would permanently advance the clocks. So we would spring forward by 30 minutes, putting an end to the biannual change. This says it bridges the gap between those who want standard or those who want a full daylight. The Sunshine Protection Act was the full daylight. Now, the thing is, though, is how these other bills were written is when October, November comes. Remember, we used to change the clocks in October. Now it's November. How these other bills are written is We just don't do anything. We just don't change the clocks. But then you might have some people go, but wait a second, we don't get our standard time. Even though that might be me, I'll shut up just to make this work. So the only question I have that I'm trying to look at with the text and I'm not finding is, when does this 30-minute shift happen? Because we just sprung forward. Are they saying that what would happen is this wouldn't be for November, this would be for next March? So we fall back again in November. And then when it comes time to March, rather than springing forward a full hour, we spring forward 30 minutes. I don't know if that's going to work, because Arizona and Hawaii aren't doing it. And so are they going to be a half hour off? That's the only thing that's going to be a little tricky. So, the bill now is in the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. If that gets approved, it goes to the Senate. Already Trump said that he is supporting, stopping daylight saving time changes, the time changes. The only problem is again, I don't know about this 30-minute thing. Just pick one and because again, the 30 minutes, I don't know. I'm just not, I don't want to say I don't like it, because anything we could do, I mean, we are closer than we've ever been to stopping the time changes. But if you have some states, there's the Uniform Time Act that was federal, but the states are allowed to choose the time they want. And so, I don't know, I think the half hour could be a little bit of a mess. I mean, how did we get here? We got here because of World War I. And I know everybody blames Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin really, really had a thing for Paris and Parisians. And so he had written an essay talking about how you can save on candles if you changed, the clocks. And it was called the Economical Project for Diminishing the Cost of Light. This was back in 1784, where he said you could use fewer candles if you woke up earlier, making more use of nature's early light. Common sense, pretty cool. But nobody did necessarily official daylight savings time. Now, many civilizations had said, okay, well, we're going to start farming here, or we're going to wait for the cock-a-doodle-doo, of the chicken to wake up. So it's not that unheard of that you're going to shift your work schedule based on the sun. That's, but in terms of time, that didn't happen until World War I. World War I, actually, it was Germany that started it first in 1916. And then President Woodrow Wilson signed into law in 1918. He wanted to conserve coal during the Great War. Eventually, it was repealed. Some states kept it, but in 1942, FDR wanted to, again, assist in the conservation effort for the war efforts. And so he made daylight saving time year-round, but called it wartime. After the war, there was no federal law maintaining the time change, so states did what they wished. Some states kept it, some didn't. The Uniform Time Law of 1966 attempted to unite the effort. President Lyndon B. Johnson decreed that daylight saving time would begin the last Sunday of April and to end the last Sunday of October. States had a right to vote to exempt themselves. By 2007, the Energy Policy Act that was created in 2005 declared that daylight saving time begins at 2 a.m. on the second Sunday of March and ends 2 a.m. on the first Sunday of November. So it shifted about a week or so. Again, Hawaii and Arizona don't convert. So what happens next? Well, right now, it is at the House Energy and Commerce. It's been introduced. We're waiting for it to pass the House and pass the Senate. We're closer than we've ever been because they think they're going to be able to bridge the standard versus the savings. But for the Uniform Time Act, we're all going to have to kind of be on the same time. If the states want to do their own thing, and I'm really a fan of states' rights, unfortunately, that could be Iowa has a different time than Nebraska versus different. Although I got to tell you, I am like really confused in Florida because I was just in Florida for about a week, and we were on Central Time in Florida, but that's because the Panhandle. lands in two different time zones. And so I thought that was kind of interesting that I was on Central Time when the rest of Florida is on Eastern Time. There's also an Atlantic Time. So we'll see what happens. But the fact that we have a president saying, make a bill and I'll pass it. We just got to get Congress to finally stop this. Just like I said, don't know if the 30-minute thing is the way to go. 1-877 Dr. Dolly, don't go away.
Looking for a gift that can actually help secure someone's future? It's Mark Falter's new book, Common Sense Income Strategies. It makes the perfect gift for that special someone in your life. Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using time-tested strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. To learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Secure your future with Common Sense Income Strategies by Mark Falter. Again, to learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dolly, 1-877 DOCDALI. So one thing I find absolutely crushing is when I keep hearing that our students are failing. And interestingly, you're having professors and teachers say, I think we got to bring back the proficiency tests. I know that people were concerned. They thought that it could affect certain populations and it might not be representative of an equal education system. But professors are like, we need something because we are reteaching basic math. We have to stop college education to teach what should have been taught in high school. Because somehow these kids are getting through and they can't read or write. One statistic we're being told is that student proficiency in English in the Clark County School District, which is the school district that I went to in Nevada, is at 45%. 45%. That means the majority of students are not proficient in reading. According to this, it's also saying that math proficiency ranges anywhere from 21% to 39%. That's frightening. This is the school district's a pretty good school district. I learned a lot. Now, how did I learn? What was the difference between school now and school then? Now, I can't speak for all students, but I liked school. And school was my way to get out of the house and try to be the first person in my family to graduate college and try to get a scholarship. So for me, it was, I'm going to do whatever the hell I can to, because my family couldn't afford college. I couldn't afford college. So I was like, I need a scholarship. So this is my future here. I want to become a doctor. I want to get out of here. And so, for me, it was, I'm going to get good grades. And also, for, myself and other of my co-students, it was scary if we came home with a bad report card. Okay. We feared failing. We feared what our parents would think of us, what our teachers would think of us. Oh, if we would have to do stay after school. So if you failed or you didn't do the assignment, you couldn't go to the game after school. You couldn't go to your clubs because you had to, after school, like in detention, go and redo your homework and redo your class. So if you wanted to be able to leave when the bell rang, you needed to study and get this done. Now, did students cheat? Absolutely. We had cheat sheets. I made some good ones. I made them for other people because I knew the matter. But yeah, I made some really good cheat sheets. They were pretty impressive. I was really proud of myself. I told you guys about that one time. So English class. I'm so proud of myself. I was in honors English in Maricopa County. This was in Arizona. And this school, Chaparral High, was very, very big on SAT and having their students get good SAT scores. So their English, in addition to learning Shakespeare and Beowulf and, reading John Steinbeck books and things like that, additionally, we had to have vocab words. So among everything we were learning in this English class, this was sophomore year, he would, Dr. Davis was his name, I think. He would give us 20 new vocab words that were very big hitters on the SAT, frequent flyers on the SAT. But he would test us on one of 200 words, which means if you learn 20 words the week before, you need to know them. And so he taught us to make little index cards of the definition. And so I would be reviewing 500 vocab words and knowing them before the test. Well, students are like, gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And cheat sheets were kind of big in the 80s. And I'm like, I'll come up with a cheat sheet that's brilliant. Well, I did. And it was really small because your cheat sheet had to be really, really small handwriting, that you could kind of put on your thigh or on your wrist, right? And so I was in class and I was showing everybody how I was able to do a cheat sheet for 200 vocab words and how to make people remember. It was actually really good. And Mr. Davis comes up behind me and he grabs the cheat sheet. And I'm like, oh, no, come on. You have to admit this is a work of art. And he's like, Dolly, just sit down. I want to, administer the test. I go, look, it's so cool. Can I please tape it? You need decoration in this room. Can I just tape it onto the board? He's like, just hurry up. I got to pass out the test. So I took the little cheat sheet, which was like a little two-by-two, and then I pasted it on the board. Okay. I was 15. All right. Now, a couple days before we were cleaning out my grandma's house, and I found some opera glasses. Decided to take them to school to show everybody opera glasses. I don't know why. I had them in my backpack. So in the middle of the test, he starts to look to see if we're cheating. And when he gets to me, as he's looking across the room, I'm there with my opera glasses trying to focus on the cheat sheet that I taped in front of me on the chalkboard. He stands up, he's pissed, and he rips the cheat sheet down and he's screaming at me. And I'm laughing because it's not like I could see anything. I just wanted to get his goat. And so, I did end up passing because obviously I couldn't see the cheat sheet even with opera glasses, but I loved messing with him. He was fun. But the point I was trying to make was the design of these classes is this is going to be on the SAT. This is going to be something you need to know. And so we feared not knowing it. We feared we had to, and there were consequences. I don't want anybody beat or whatever, but who wanted to stay after school? Who wanted to be in, a remediation detention class? And parents, when it was report card day, there was always that anxiety going, oh my gosh, I hope my parents are okay. How did I do? And reports cards were actually very good for the parents so they could see that their child needs help. Now, I got good grades except for talkativeness. They called it self-control. And at the time, they called it self-control, and I would get an N for needs improvement. And I remember my parents are looking at my report card, which is pretty impressive, except for, it's like, what the hell are you guys doing? And my father, they're like, I don't understand. You have no control. You pee on yourself? No, I don't know what that means either, Dad. And my mom's like, it means she talks too much. Why you talk too much? You shut up. You in class, you shut up. You stupid. You completely stupid. And I'm like, yeah, but I have fun talking. I go, look, this is how I get my grades. This is how I do. He goes, no, do. I go, but this is how I do. So anyway, we have an issue where these students are struggling. And now you have UC professors going, we got to maybe bring back the SATs. And they remember during COVID, they were like, okay, this is a good time to stop it. So, I don't know if the younger generation of students look at school as, okay, yeah, I'm here. I just have to show up. Or if they have that same kind of concern that if I don't do well, there's consequences. And is it that the parents don't look at the report cards? Is it that the parents don't care? They're like, is it that we have a generation now where even if you don't win the race, you get a trophy? We're awarding people trophies and ribbons, even when they don't win. So when the child has a D plus, rather than the parents going, come on, we got to do better, are some parents going, well, I think a D plus is passing. So, all right. I mean, is it that we have such high degrees of mental illness in these younger kids that parents and teachers are so worried about triggering them that they're like, we'll just support you, whatever you have, it's okay? Is it that these students are like, what the hell's the point in knowing calculus if AI is going to be doing it for me and I won't get a job because I know calculus? I mean, I got to tell you, I did calculus 3 in college. I did biostats, and I think I went one more. Never used it in medicine. So are these students going, look, these traditional classes I'm not using, I'm never going to cite Beowulf. But we got to do something because we cannot have such a low percentage of proficiency with our kids. We're failing them. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, don't go away.
Hey everyone, Dr. Dahlia here. Thousands of physicians, residents, and medical students are silently dealing with depression, and tragically, 400 take their lives each year. 400! I wrote this book hoping to reach out to anyone struggling. You're not alone. Don't stay silent. The Depressed Doctor can be found on Amazon, and if you or anyone you know needs help, call or text 988, the National Suicide and Crisis Hotline.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind
Awesome.
common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Hey, America. How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American Magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep twice a month, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, 1-877-DOCDALI. Congratulations to the Golden Knights. Man, I got to tell you, I was there. I got to go to a playoff game. I was really, really excited about that. Let me, actually, before I begin with that, playoff hockey, it's pretty expensive to go to playoff hockey. I just want to bring this up really quickly. And so I have been in Vegas now for years, since the start of, I've been in Vegas off and on since the 80s, but I haven't gone to playoff games because they get pretty expensive. But interestingly, there's at the last minute people that are trying to resell the tickets that can't, and the prices aren't that bad. So when my soon-to-be daughter-in-law gave me the idea of let's go to the hockey game, I was able to go and get some really decent tickets, and it was great. Actually, they had really good seats, so I actually got to sit next to them because people next to them weren't there. So I got to sit a whole period next to them, and so I got to sit in a few different places, and it was great. And I am so proud of the Golden Knights. So, for those of you going, gosh, it stinks, there's never opportunities, and I hear you, it really, really stunk. That Super Bowl was impossible for us Vegas people who supported bringing a team not being able to go. Sometimes, though, with some of the non-Super Bowl events, there's a way to get in and get some pretty decent deals. So that's how I went. I didn't buy the tickets in advance. Because people ask, when did I buy my tickets? How, did I buy my tickets months in advance? No, I was able to, because who knew if we were going to be in the playoffs? But boy, did they do awesome. And I'm really, really proud of the Golden Knights. So one thing that I really get confused about as an American, and here we are celebrating our 250th birthday, is that, if you're American, all right, and we just honored those who sacrificed for our freedoms with Memorial Day, then one thing that is in our blood and in our creed is protecting our rights and our freedoms and our ability to choose a candidate we want to. If we are a Dallas Cowboy fan and you're a Packer fan, we're not going to kill each other over that. We're not going to, we might throw some shade and, you give you some, but for the most part, look, I respect you. You're allowed to pick a team you like. If you vote for Trump, if you vote for Biden, if you vote for Hillary, if you vote for Bush, whatever, you're American, of course. In America, we're going to have some people that vote for one candidate, some people vote for another. Why? Because we're not under a fascist regime. We're not in Iran. We're not in Gaza, where Hamas just decides to take over and rule. So with that, with freedom comes, choice. And so here's Jackson Dart, who's at an event, and he gets the honor of introducing the commander-in-chief. You have the U.S. hockey team, the men's hockey team, that was invited to, come to the White House and then the State of the Union. And you see on social media, people just go after and give these individuals crap. Megan Rapinoe, if she wants to vote for Kamala Harris, let her. That's what she wants to do. She has every right. She's American. And so you see I'm seeing Americans not act American. And that really bothers me. It bothers me to the core. And, it's interesting because I was listening to Clay Travis, who was saying most of the NFL coaches are conservative. And I don't care if somebody's conservative or liberal. I just want you to be American and really honor the values and not discriminate, not bully, not hurt somebody for being an American, practicing their American right to choose, in voting for another American. Now, I get some people really, really couldn't stand Kamala Harris. Some people really can't stand Trump. But what the media is having us do and what extremists are having us do is if you support somebody on that side, then you are just a piece of blank and you're evil and you're anti this and so I don't know much about Spencer Pratt and what's going on with the mayor race, but people like his ideas. They like his ideas a lot because he's calling out what Karen Bass did. I think even Joe Rogan is liking a lot of Spencer Pratt's ideas. And so, you're having a lot of people go, Well, then something comes up where, he, was, I guess, palling around with Alex Jones, and I haven't really followed any of that. And so does that mean Spencer Pratt believes what Alex Jones believes as it pertains to Sandy Hook? No. I mean, unless he comes out and says that's what he believes. But, I met Alex Jones at one of the Talkers conferences probably, 14, 15 years ago, was before Sandy Hook. I didn't really like him too much. He wasn't friendly at all. He just was a part of my same network, a Genesis Communications Network. So I said hi, introduced myself. And he was like, hi. And he was just kind of rough and whatever. I was like, it's kind of a jerk. So I didn't really, but if somebody took a picture of me talking to him and introducing himself, because that's what you do when you're a part of the same network, does that mean I support all the stupid stuff he said? No. And we don't believe that in America because we understand that you have the freedom to like some things here, some things here. A Republican or a Democrat doesn't mean they agree with every single thing anybody who's Democrat says. I mean, look at how the Democrats are looking at, that congressional candidate, or was it a Senate candidate? I think it was a congressional candidate who was talking about, putting Zionists in jail and internment camps. And I mean, Democrats are like, okay, she shouldn't even belong in the party. So here's Jackson Dart introducing the president. If Biden had asked me to come to the White House and help him, if Trump asked me, if Obama asked me, I'm here to serve my commander in chief. That's what you do when you're American. Okay, I might not agree with everything they stand for. I might, but I mean, that's, we're American. We aren't going to always get who we like. Your boss. You might not always like your boss. You might get a jerk boss. All right. And then you have the choice to leave or to work for them. And then there might be a new boss. There might be, we learn to understand that we might not love everybody, but we keep trying to say, if you support a secure border, you're evil. Or you're, anti-LGBTQAI plus. You're like, well, no, why can't I want a secure border? Why can't I want the Iran regime out and them not having nuclear capabilities? What does that have to do with, how I feel towards the LGBTQAI plus community, who I really, really respect? Having family members a part of him and friends, I think Americans might be starting to get a little smarter in terms of, we're not going to be doing this cancel culture. I'm allowed to vote for who I want to vote. I'm allowed to protect or to, have a preference to something. But, if your favorite quarterback for the Giants is introducing Trump, his commander in chief, I mean, should that really affect your support of the Giants? No, I don't really particularly like the Giants. I like Jackson Dart. I'm pretty impressed with him because was he the one that did the paint on his face like Anakin Skywalker? I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, he kind of, I like that he's into Star Wars because I love Star Wars. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's younger and the younger generation really love the newer Star Wars. And they respect the older ones. So, but before you start to go after somebody who supports Kamala Harris or something, ask yourself, are you American or are you, North Korean, a Kim Jong-un? I mean, are you fascist? What exactly are you, what country are you a part of? Because let whomever support, whichever president is in power. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, don't go away.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by Financial Fitness Show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.